Tonight, Court Vision brings you its first broadcast of a CORT Training Paints Championship Series race as the drivers take the challenge in Miami for the CORT Grand Prix of Miami. We'll have fun in the sun as the series heads back to their traditional opening date and get their crucial point to lock them into the field for the Indy 500K at the end of the month. It's CORT Training Paints action from South Beach. Next. Hello and welcome to CORT Vision's maiden voyage with the CORT Training Paints Championship Series for a race event. It is the CORT Grand Prix of Miami here tonight at the Homestead Miami Speedway, the season opener for the Training Paints Championship Series. I am your host, David Amboys, alongside my good broadcast colleague, Kevin Bartelt. And Kevin, it's going to be a good one here tonight.
We're inventing new lingo here. The race should be a great one tonight. All the best drivers are here. All the stars and cars of the Trading Paints Championship Series. I don't know honestly what to expect out of most of these guys, though. I'm not terribly familiar with all of this.
Should be a good one. As you can see, we are running out the remainder of practice here. Drivers meeting shortly here to come. And tonight is a big night for the championship online racing teams. We have a lot of big things in store, a lot of exciting motions, and exciting times to be a member of the championship online racing teams.
Yeah, it really doesn't get too much better in right now. A lot of stuff going on around the league and around the sanctioning body. CORT Vision here coming back. A lot of new teams, a lot of new faces. It's exciting.
Absolutely. It is a very exciting time to be a member of the championship online racing teams. CORT Vision will be doing coverage of one CORT series a week. We will be alternating each week next week. Instead of covering the trucks, it would normally go Monday, IndyCar, Tuesday, the Truck Series, and Wednesday, our good friends over there in the Gen 6 National Cup Series. It is going to be a different kind of rotation just for the first few weeks, just to make sure that every series has a proper representation of the way that it should be. Next week would normally be the RPM Truck Series, but next week we've played an audible. We will be bringing you coverage of the Cup Series from Bristol. That will be next Wednesday at 8:45 p.m. Eastern, right here on CORT Vision. And as always, Kevin, Live View will be making their migration over here to the CORT Vision service, normally on my personal Twitch channel, David Amboy's show, but moving over to CORT Vision next, or starting this week, I should say, at Texas on Thursday. If you haven't seen Live View before, it's a different kind of broadcast. You're going to want to check it out. But CORT Vision will be bringing you coverage of one CORT series a week. On top of that, we've also got tentative plans to bring back the CORT Report, which was a very, very popular show back in the day with the championship online racing teams. But a lot of exciting things are down the pike, and it starts all tonight here at Homestead. One of the most exciting events of the season, and rightfully so. And Kevin, another thing that's very interesting about it is tonight, drivers could pretty much lock themselves into the Indy 500K. Yes, 500K. It's been extended this season, 25 miles or so, to getting themselves locked in for that event, since essentially you get a point, you're locked into the 250 or 500K.
Yeah, that's the way it worked out this last season. I know there was a lot of questions about how you would lock in the last few spots since none of them had points. But, basically, if you get a top 12 here, or, I'd say more securely, 8th place or so, I don't think there's any way you're going to miss the Indy 500K.
Yes, and if you aren't aware of how the CORT Training Paints Championship Series point standings work, the top 20 or the top 12 of the event will receive points. Everyone else does not receive points for the event. On top of that, leading the most laps and getting the pole gets you a point respectively. Very interesting point system based off of the 1998 CART FedEx Championship Series point system. Something that's slightly different, considering that I got to be honest, a lot of our drivers might not have even actively watched racing in the year 1998. Very exciting stuff here at CORT. Appears to be the drivers' meeting occurring right now. Don't appear to see any sort of action out on track at the moment. So we will try and find some exciting stuff real quick. Your top 5 practice speeds: John Dragonetti, Scott Olson, defending champion, hence the number 1. Corey Stevens, last minute entry, Julian Medor, and Riley Roush round out your top 5. Kevin, we've heard from the grapevine about 50 to 53 laps on fuel. We heard from one driver saying about 52 laps. Are you going to be coming in for fuel, or are you going to be coming in for tires?
Well, if it's me personally, it's going to be both. I don't take many chances that way, but I'm willing to bet we'll see some different pit strategies tonight, and I'm willing to bet that there's going to be a few guys that either are going to take tires or they're going to go a little light on fuel. I don't, it's hard to say which way they're going to go on all that, but whatever it takes to win is what they're going to do.
Will be interesting. As you know, the tires matter a lot in the open wheel series, especially in this CORT Training Paints Championship Series. 4th season already. It's the 4th season of CORT action since the old CASCOR, Canadian Online, or Canadian Auto Racing League thing. Sorry, Mike. I
Wow,
apologize.
Dave, you are on it tonight.
I am on it tonight. I apologize, Mike. The CASCOR series, Canadian Association of Stock Car Online Racing. There we go. That's what it was. Made the move to iRacing in 2012. We are past our full calendar season in CORT, and last year, Kevin, had a lot of first-time winners.
Yeah, and to say the least, it was surprising because normally it's 1 or 2, maybe 3 guys that steal the show here every week. But last year we definitely had a good mix, and hopefully we'll see it again this year. It's always good to see different faces and all that make it the victory lane. It helps with the drivers not getting entirely frustrated with one another when someone's winning every week.
Absolutely, absolutely. Hey, real quick, going out to the people watching live right now. If you want to interact with us on Twitter, I am on Twitter at NotDamnBoys. Kevin, you got Twitter as well, right? What's your Twitter, real quick?
I have Twitter, but I wouldn't recommend using it. You're probably better off poking me with a stick or clubbing me or something. No, I honestly don't use it. I don't even remember what it is actually offhand. But I'm following Dave, so if you can find me, go for it.
I believe it's K Bartelt 07, I want to say.
I don't think so.
No, yes, no.
But I don't know.
We will find out shortly. Looks as if cars are back out on track, so things are starting to move forward that way as we get ready to go for tonight's CORT Grand Prix of Miami.
It is at Kevin_Bartelt. That's what it is.
There we go. There you go, folks. If you want to interact with both of us here on Twitter, feel free. That's where you can find us there.
I could be with the happening kids.
Tonight should be good. About 125 laps. That will equal out to a little bit under 100 miles, or actually a little bit over 100 miles for the. Actually, that's almost 150 miles now that I think about it. David can't do math. For the CORT Train Paints Championship Series, put it in perspective, a 200-mile race here at the high-banked, progressively banked Homestead Miami Speedway is 134 laps, so tonight should be a quick one for the Trading Paint Series. Traditional length, only ran one longer race here, 150 laps in its debut back 2 years ago, but tonight 125 laps, and that's going to make it about a 1 or 2 stop race. Swinging more definitely towards 2, but it's going to be when do you come in for that second pit stop?
Well, when do you come in and how many cautions are we going to get? If you get a good handful of cautions in the first half of this race, I could see you guys making it on one stop.
Should be pretty exciting nonetheless. Check in on some of the cars out on track. We are following Troy McLaughlin at the moment. Troy, one of the Atlantic Canadians in the field, part of the Go Tire team there.
I don't know too much about him. I know he had a few good runs last year. I believe I saw him in Milwaukee when I was crew chiefing for Scott Olson.
And Scott Olson, your defending champion, definitely somebody to watch for tonight. Will be very exciting to see what Scott brings to the table this season, trying to be the first driver to successfully defend his CORT Trading Paints Championship. Hasn't happened since ever. Hasn't happened before, so we'll see if Scott, who also took the number one, which has been a little bit of a bad omen in the past, but Scott's bringing it on with full force. See what he will bring here. Qualifying on the speedway at the moment. We'll see if we can focus in on a specific run or so. Why don't we focus in on the run for the defending champion, Scott Olson? Let's see what he can bring out here.
Yeah, like usual, Scott should be very competitive. He's competitive week in, week out, as he showed with his championship performance last year. Especially the road courses. I mean, road courses, he's absolutely brutal. Whenever I've raced against him on a road course, it's like, all right, see you, Scott. I guess I'll meet up with you after the race for drinks or something.
Olson with a stop in turn 3. He's going to try and redo it again. Wasn't happy with his exit, I assume, here. Oh, you know what it was? He did not use the access road. That's another thing that's going to be very interesting to watch here tonight, Kevin. The access road is a penalty if you do not use it. It's the only racetrack on the Trading Paint schedule that requires you to use the access road. If you do not, you will get black flagged.
And it doesn't matter if it's green flag, yellow flag, red flag. You got to use that access road or you are going to receive that black flag. I know we had some discussion about that last Tuesday when the truck series was here, and I like it. It adds a different fold to the whole mix to challenge you a bit more, especially if you're coming in a green.
Olson looking to make his moves here, going through 3 and 4. Very exciting stuff here at Homestead, Miami. Here's the first lap. That is a 25.821. That puts him third. See what the second
love to
lap.
see if he's got something for him on lap 2 here. He usually does, but it's hard to say.
And in the past here at Homestead, it has been a case where drivers have not totally been able to grip the bottom of the speedway. Quite what you expect. Car washes up a bit, doesn't really grip all that well. We'll see if that plays any role here. This looks to be quicker slightly, 25.797, but will not gain. He will actually qualify 4th here at Homestead.
You were talking a little bit about that lower line, and I can tell you right now, in our truck race that we had here on Tuesday, you could go low, but it wasn't going to stay there very long. You were going to slide back up unless you got on the brakes pretty hard or, took it easy going around there. It wasn't the fastest way around the track, I can tell you that. It was good for quick moves if you could slide up in front of somebody, but otherwise it wasn't good for any sort of extended period of time.
Top 5 at the moment. You just saw it just a minute ago. Let's flash it up there again. Stephen Taylor, Tim Silliman, Andrew Hess, who had a strong run going toward the end of last season and had a good run here a year ago. Scott Olson's time put him 4th. Troy McLaughlin in the 5th spot. New season, new pairings, new combinations, new faces in new places. Not really the case in the Trading Paint series. A lot of drivers staying put as to where they were normally. One of the main faces, though, Mike Husby, not able to be in the Monday series like he was the past 3 seasons, defending champion, focusing in on the RPM Truck Series and the CORT National Cup Series, deciding to take a step back from the Trading Paint series.
I think I don't think it's catching Mike's attention like it used to. Mike he's very competitive and all that, and I think he wants to see what he can accomplish in the trucks, especially. Considering that's new here, he wants to be the guy that everyone looks back and thinks, Mike Husby, yeah, he was a champion in everything.
He so far is the only driver to win both a Cup and Trading Paints title, winning the Cup championship last season. So he's looking to become the first to win all 3. Very, very exciting stuff for Mike Husby, focusing in on that RPM Truck Series. Nearing the end of qualifying, not too much longer to go. Just trying to kill some time here before we get going, before we get gridded up and good to go for tonight's CORT Grand Prix of Miami. These guys head west I guess, to the east, if that makes any sense. They will be heading to Twin Ring Motegi and the Oval there 1 week's time from now for the CORT Autobox Grand Prix Japan Special. Then they head over to Brazil. They're trekking the globe early on in their season. And then, you know the date, March 24th, we will be here covering CORT Indianapolis 500K qualifying, one of the flagship programs for CORT Vision, as we try and build a reason to tune in to CORT Vision and a reason for the service to continue. A bright, new, fresh, new look. I really, really dig the new look we have here at CORT Vision, and hopefully you do too. Qualifying is done. We are ready to go for the CORT Trading Paints Championship Series. We've got a very exciting field. We'll be sure to show you that as they grid up. Why don't we go ahead and show you the lineup? Stephen Taylor and Tim Silliman will lead the field, followed by Andrew Hess. As these graphics are wrong, as always, I always get caught by it. Andrew Hess, Scott Olson, Troy McLaughlin, and Julian Medore make up row 3. Row 4, John Dragonetti and Scott Mullen. Row 5, Andrew Hayes and Chris Sweat, the Fury Inc. teammates, moving over there, and they will be in row 5. Row 6, Kyle Young, as we just mentioned, replacing Mike Husby in the 6, and Riley Roush, the Speedway veteran. Corey Stevens in a last-minute David Amboy's developments entry, and Jeff Gilmore, Tyler Tucker, and James Gutta will round out the field. Should be a good one here tonight. 125 laps, and Kevin, what's going through these drivers' heads right about now?
Oh crap, how do I drive this thing? Oh man, what's going on? I don't know what's supposed to happen now. Oh, did I go to the bathroom? Oh man, I'm at the hold it.
Okay, well, let's just say they know how to drive the car. What do they need to watch for now?
Early wrecks. You can't win if you don't survive. If there aren't any, well, then you got to worry about actually stepping up your game and keeping up with Stephen Taylor and Tim Silliman, who I'm sure are going to set a blazing pace tonight like they usually do.
Surprised to see no Alex Boffoli. Alex has won 3 of the 4 events here at Homestead, Miami, and for him to no-show Homestead, which has pretty much been his house, only winning all but one event here, that one won by Will Roberts a few years ago, is kind of surprising.
Yeah, I was fully expecting him to be here, just like I was fully expecting my number 90 entry to be here. But, you know, things come up, and that's the way it goes sometimes. Sometimes you just can't quite find the time, you know. But the guys who do, they're here every week.
Feels like a throwback of sorts a bit to the old school, to our first ever date here in CORT, the CORT Grand Prix of Miami of the first season, a smaller field, but very, very talented field, a very exciting field. That's what we got ahead of us here tonight.
Well, there's no doubt about the talent level in this field. I mean, you might only have 16 cars out on that track, but they're going to put on a show. There is no doubt about it.
Also, we're going to kick off CORT Vision in a great way. We got some new graphics for you. A very, very nice looking interface. CORT Vision, of course, our goal here at CORT Vision is to provide a broadcast style broadcast, something that you would normally see on television. No e-ticket rides here, none of that BS. You're here for CORT Vision. You're here for a good show. So here we go. Field through 3 and 4, final preparations as we get ready to go for the CORT Training Paints Championship Series. 125 laps, Homestead, Miami Speedway. Can these guys get their points? This might be the best chance to get points before the Indy 500K. Pace car makes its hard left turn. Here we go. Field brings them to the green. Stephen Taylor and Tim Silliman, and we are green.
Yeah, it looks like Taylor might have been sleeping on the start there a little bit, allowing Tim Silliman to get out front for the time being. Scott Olson making the charge on the outside.
Olson trying to make something happen there on the high side. Taylor trying to keep it going there on the inside, and it looks like we might have the rivalry, as it's said. Scott Olson and Tim Silliman definitely have a little bit of a rivalry going on, but that might bring the best out of both of them, as that's Julian Medore. Different colors for Julian this year in the AMC Mercedes colors.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Tim Sullivan and Scott Olson, they are not best friends, that's for sure. Used to be teammates, but even while they were teammates, they still weren't best friends. I think it actually helps both of them to a new competitive high, and really brings out the best in them. If they're not screaming at each other, that is.
Right now, Silliman holding the point, followed by Taylor. It looks like single file. A little bit of action further back in the field. That looks to be Chris Sweat running alongside the 55 of Tyler Tucker. Actually, Tucker has taken the position there at that point. Chris running 10th.
Yep, just making laps, trying to figure out how these things feel in traffic. I don't think a lot of the guys actually worried too much about racing in a pack in practice, surprisingly enough. But they're going to get this thing figured out and keep on going and see if they have anything for Tim Sullivan out front.
Absolutely, Silliman trying to get some excitement here as Silliman currently holds the point. Looks like a battle brewing for the 4th spot, though. Julian, and I believe behind him is Troy McLaughlin. Those two have raced against one another in the past. They raced together last season, but that looks to be a pretty exciting.
Off the track on the back straightaway, hit the inside wall. Pretty good, Dave.
Well, it's number on that real quick, if you don't mind.
It is the number 99 Kevin Bartel Motorsports entry. James Gutta piloting that this evening, and I think he'll be done for the night.
That's a tough break for Jim Gutta. Really was expecting a good run out of him, and unfortunately that last-minute deal to run tonight kind of fell through, and tough break for him.
Yeah, my pocketbook will feel that tomorrow.
Real quick battle for 3rd right now. Julian Medor trying to get past the 42. Steven Taylor, he has to hit the apron. Close call there as the caution is out.
Caution sure is out. Don't know what for just yet. Looks like the number 40 of Chris Sweat.
Yeah, Chris Sweat. Let's see if we can get a replay there. Oh, got on the wall, and then it was just... Oh, and it collected the 30 of Corey Stevens as well. Tough break for that.
Yeah, I do believe that's two out of the 3 Fury Motorsports entries, I believe.
Yeah, actually, the 30 of Stevens was entered under the David Amboy stable. A lot of pit stops here early on, only 7 laps in.
It's a bit surprising. Wasn't really expecting that, considering we told you at the get-go you could go 50 laps, but maybe that's what these guys are doing. Is they're going to top off now and figure that they can stretch it as far as they can, and then pit and make it the rest of the way.
We will see what this entails as pit stops coming in. We got our fan cam here, watching Scott Olson come into the pit lane. Let's see. Is he getting tires? Yeah, he is getting tires. So a couple of drivers deciding to get tires here at the moment. As the race off pit lane will be Olson first off, followed by Medor, and then John Dragonetti. We're under an early caution here at the Homestead Miami Speedway.
Yeah, I find it a bit surprising that Silliman and Steven Taylor decided to stay out. Not so surprising for Hayes to stay out. I do believe he started a little bit further back in the field. I think he just wants to get up in that clean air a little bit. But for Silliman and Taylor to stay out, I'm surprised.
And it is slightly surprising to see Silliman and Taylor. But I wonder if they're trying to pace out their pit strategy. Wasn't quite the time to come in at the moment. Looks as if they were kind of waiting for a little bit of a longer run, possibly a little bit later. I know the past few years that I've been able to run this event again, I'm on the shelf, and I appreciate everyone with their well wishes and everything. I'm hoping to be out here soon so that I'm not broadcasting, although I do enjoy doing it. But I do know that in the past we have tried to make this a 2-stop race by pitting on roughly around lap 25, or if the first half goes green, pitting on lap 75, then you can make it a 2-stop race from there while maximizing the fuel.
Right, it all depends on how everything falls. Myself, personally, if this was me running this, I'd wait to see how the cautions fell in the first half of the race, and if they fell my way to where I think I could, stretch a few extra laps out of it, try to make it a 1-stop race that way instead of short pitting it early, myself personally.
Yep, still under the caution car, so we'll go ahead and run down some of our promos. You saw it just a minute ago. ASRA live view from Texas Motor Speedway Thursday at 8:45 p.m. Eastern, right here on Court Vision. CourtVision.com will be your hookup for that. That is Ken Bartelt Series and Kevin's ASRA Supercar Series. Kicked off last week with a win by John Dragonetti, and you saw it if you were watching on my personal stream page, David Amboy's show. One heck of a finale to that.
Yeah, the ending was spectacular. I wish myself and my car could have been up there, but hey, it happens. But it was a great race. Uh, Only two cautions, so I can't complain, from an admin standpoint. And they made it a great finish, and there was no controversy, and no one was mad at one another, so I'll take it.
And next week, as I mentioned earlier before, the little bit of a shuffling in the rotation as it will be. National Cup from Bristol, the high banks of Bristol Motor Speedway, Wednesday, March 12th, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, here on Court Vision. Exciting stuff, exciting time to be a member of the Championship Online Racing Teams, and it will be a good one here tonight, as it already is, and we welcome everyone tuning in here on Court Vision. Again, if you got any nitpicks, any sort of questions, maybe some comments, maybe some suggestions for us to do, it is a growing network, and we appreciate all the help that we can get. If you want to help us grow, feel free to message me on Facebook, David Amboys, or message the Championship Online Racing Teams page. Might work on trying to get a Facebook page specifically for the Court Vision service. Not sure yet, but at the end of the day, our priority is still Court, and we will see what we could do. Pace car is getting ready to duck off. We are on the one green lap. We are ready to go back racing. Here in the Train Paint season opener, Scott Olson, the defending points champion, stalking the field in fourth. Got a good pit stop there. As remember, the front three did not pit.
I think they're going to regret that shortly, but only time will tell. We'll see what kind of a restart Silliman can get here.
Silliman's going to lead him to the green, and green it is. He gets off a little bit slowly, but he gets off.
Yeah, a little bit of a jumble there at the line to get her back up to speed, but it looks like everything's sorting itself out pretty well. Can't complain too much. They make their way down the back straightaway. Tim holds on to that lead, and he's got four very hungry drivers directly behind him.
I want to focus in on this battle for the fourth spot. That was a big power move by Tyler Tucker just a moment ago, forcing Scott Olson to think about it. And now these two are driving really aggressively, only 12 laps into this season.
And that's not something I've ever come to expect out of those two. Those two are some class of the field normally. I mean, they're one of the three guys, or I should say two of the three guys I would expect to win on any given week.
Exciting stuff early on here at Homestead. We'll see. Well, hey, there's a little bit of a battle could be brewing behind them if we focus in on Andrew Hess in the 22 and the 25 behind him. That's Scott Mullen in the Pepsi entry.
It's a nice looking car there. They're making good laps though, and just taking their time. Doesn't look like they're pressing real hard. Just want to survive for a while the way it looks.
Hess, of course, had a very, very good season going early on. Contended for the win with Alex Boffley here just a season ago. Unfortunately, broke his ankle and was put out of most of the season. Turned late in the year. Contended for some races late in the year, but just couldn't wire it all together due to injury. And is looking to complete his first full court season. It will be good to see if Hess will contend for the championship later on.
If he can put together a few good runs, there's no excuse why he wouldn't. He seems like he's got it all together most of the time.
Meanwhile, the 8 of Silliman feeling some pressure from the 42 of Taylor. This is starting to get really exciting here. Late or early on here at Homestead.
I've seen a lot of improvement out of Steven Taylor, over the last season or so, and not just here at CORT, but over at ASRA and elsewhere as well. He's really gotten it together these last couple of seasons, and I look for him to challenge for the championship if he can be here every week.
Ooh, Taylor got a little bit of apron there as you see that car wash up the banking just a bit.
Yeah, it never fails. I talk a guy up, and he's got to go out there and make sure everything I just said was pointless.
On board with the 8 of Tim Silliman at the moment, leading the field. Live shots from the rear of the Haviland entry. Looks as if the choice not to pit has actually worked out beautifully for the top 3. Haven't really lost all that much ground.
In fact, you might say it worked out terrifically for them. None of them have lost any ground. And Scott Olson and Tyler Tucker have made contact going into 1. Tucker looks to be done for the night after his tumble.
A hard hit for Tyler Tucker. Let's see if we can get a replay of that. As here we go. Tucker and Olson. And oh man, I don't know if that was net code or something there, but a hard hit for the 55. Let's see if we can get another view of that.
It looks to me like maybe Scott was caught napping a little bit going into the corner there. And it didn't look like they actually touched, but it looked like they got close enough for that net code to take effect.
Let's see it here. We'll watch it again. And yeah, that angle again, not really too conclusive. But yeah, it looks as if there was a little bit of an issue in between the two of them. And that was not the, well, it's very interesting nonetheless, as now the whole back half of the field, including Steven Taylor, now comes in. Andrew Hayes will come in as well.
Everybody has come in for a pit stop now, with the exception of Tim Silliman.
Tim Silliman, the only one that hasn't made his pit stop yet, as according him off like cordwood now, Tyler Tucker will actually clinch himself into the final position in the points tonight. So we're already at the point where every driver will make it. We'll get points in the event. Hey, look at this. That's Andrew Hayes. Wow, that's close to the pit line, and I think Hayes beat out all 3.
Hayes not wasting any time tonight and not screwing around tonight. He wants to be up there.
Andrew Hayes is hungry, has not won in the CORT Trading Paints Championship Series, despite being a CASCOR IndyCar champion. So, interesting things there. Hey, real quick, getting a word from Corey Stevens earlier on tonight. Unfortunately, was involved in that first incident, saying that we should keep an eye out on the 6 car of Kyle Young. Kyle Young, again, another driver that has yet to win in the CORT Trading Paints Series. But he says keep an eye out on the 6 car. He could be pretty good here before everything's said and done.
Kyle Young is one of those guys, you throw him into anything and he can be fast if you give him the right amount of time and the right amount of input to help him become fast. He's got the natural talent. Sometimes he overdrives himself a little bit. But there's a lot of times where he's that guy that's on your back door, and no matter what you do, you can't get rid of him.
Right, as when we come to the restart, as we give you our top 5 presented by Train Paints, Tim Silliman, Scott Olson, Julian Medor, Andrew Hayes, and Andrew Hess will make up our top 5. When we go back green here in a few minutes, 2 laps to go, the caution appears to be. So some drivers who might benefit from this, as it doesn't appear to be a free pass car. The Train Paint Series does employ the CORT free pass system, as every CORT series does nowadays.
I don't believe there's anybody that still has a car to drive that's a lap down. As we saw, Tyler Tucker, took that terrible spill to cause this caution, and then Stevens and Sweat and Gutta have all retired fairly early this evening.
Should be, yeah, it's a tough break for those guys. Nonetheless, a tough break for Tyler Tucker, who is always a favorite whenever he comes out here and runs here at CORT. So a tough break for him.
Yep, and just making our way, making these caution laps. I really don't have a lot of input at this point. I mean, I'm just kind of sitting back and waiting to see what happens here. I'm really interested to see how Tim holds up now that he's got everybody in the field having pitted besides him.
So with two early cautions, we get ready for the restart here on lap 22. Your top five again: Tim Silliman, Scott Olson, Julian Medore, Andrew Hayes, and Andrew Hess, which should make for an interesting top five. Three of the top five have not won in the CORT Training Paints Championship Series. Ironically enough, two of the top five, the other two, quite frankly, are some of the drivers who have won the most in the CORT Training Paints Championship Series. Tim Silliman and Scott Olson, and we made mention of it before. These two definitely have a history together. We're teammates of part of David Amboy's developments in the National Cup Series about 2 seasons ago, but did not come out to fruition. Scott decided to go his own way and has set up for quite a restart here early on in not just tonight's CORT Grand Prix of Miami, but early on in the 2014 CORT Training Paints Championship Series.
Oh, very early. Way too early to be getting caught up in accidents, and way too early to really be thinking long term. You got to be thinking for this race and get a good start to your season. If you don't get a good start here, you're behind the 8 ball all year long.
Ford Mustang pace car is off. We're back green as Silliman gets a really good restart here.
Maybe even too good.
Plotting that doubt already is good old Kevin Bartel. As here we go down the back half of the field, Julian Medore is looking to make a run on Scott Olson here.
Yeah, it looked like Scott threw the block on him coming off the corner there.
Olson trying to throw some blocks. It is generally a gentleman's rule here in CORT, one block a straightaway. So you make one move a straightaway, as we'll have to see if that continues, if that persists. Medore trying to make the pass for the second spot. Julian has made his pit stop. The only car that hasn't is Tim Silliman.
Yeah, while these two are screwing around back there, Tim is pulling away, and I'm going to say he's maybe making the right decisions here. Go as long as you can, then pit. But it seems like with the later race car, he's able to pull away even with the older tires.
Well, unlike the cars the CORT National Cup Series or the CORT RPM Truck Series run, these cars are the fastest when they're on the end of their fuel loads. So it appears as if, that might be his strategy. A lighter car, faster car, despite the tires being a little bit slower.
And I like it. I think it could work for him. He's just got to stay smart and make sure he doesn't run that thing out of fuel or get himself off sequence.
Following along with the number 1 and 10 right now, as that's the battle on the racetrack. If anything else pops up, we'll follow it. In fact, why don't we follow back a little bit further? Stephen Taylor and Troy McLaughlin are in quite a battle here. I believe this is for the 7th spot.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what was going on there. I was watching from the front myself, and looked like they were 3 wide coming off of turn 4.
Scott Mullen and John Dragonetti now going at it for the 8th spot. Remember, all these positions pay points, which is a very important thing to note, as the Training Paint Series will move on to the Indy 500K, which is the premier big event, the marquee event for the Training Paint Series each season. And if you get points, you're pretty much locked into that event. As wow, one car way high on the spanking.
One into the wall on the inside as well, Dave.
That's Troy McLaughlin. Tough break for the Atlantic Canadian, as that will likely end his night. And we're cording them off like cordwood. That is now, we're down to 10 out here right now.
It's surprising, but at the same time, not. This track, while it might be banked and it might be fast, they're gonna sneak up on you. It'll bite you.
We'll go back to this battle for second right now, as it appears as if Scott Olson's trying to hold off Julian Medore in the 1 and the 10. Medore in the 10, Olson in the 1.
Scott Olson goes up the hill, opening up the door for Julian. He's making the move down the inside, but doesn't look like he can quite get it done on that straightaway.
Didn't quite have the run as it appeared to be there. As it appears as if Medore will get a run on the exit of the corner, try and carry it down the straightaway. Doesn't appear to have the momentum that he wishes.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying all sorts of different lines, just trying to do anything to get up next to him.
Here they go again. This time he is next to him. Mador on the inside of Olsen for the second position. Let's see here. Mador washes up a bit. Olsen holding on strong.
That's the problem here. You can get as good of a run as you want to get on that low side, but that guy on the high side's got the momentum.
Yeah, not only that, but that low side is tight as wow. There goes Olsen. Hangs on to it. That's close at 215 miles an hour as Bador will now take the second spot.
As I said, this track might be big and it might be banked, but it'll bite you. You can't ever relax here.
So now move Mador to the second spot. As Bador will lead now, but again, Tim Silliman has checked out. Finds himself over a second over Julian Mador, about 1.3 seconds, as you see on the graphic there. 1.3 seconds ahead of the number 10 Mercedes AMG IndyCar early on at Homestead. Not even halfway through the event in the CORT Grand Prix of Miami, as now Olsen's looking to mount a charge back for that second spot. This one's not done yet.
And I can tell you right now, it probably won't be until the end of this race.
These
Both
two
those guys
going.
are fierce competitors, and neither one wants to give up anything. Julian I believe, has said multiple times in the past that this is where this series is something he has always wanted to win.
Has won in the National Cup Series, won a championship in the National Cup Series. Hasn't really won in the Truck Series yet. To be honest, I don't think he's. Well, he has attempted to race a couple of events, but that series is only 2 races old, so you can't really give him credit for that. But looking to win here in the Trading Paint Series, has always said that he wants to win here in Trading Paints.
Yeah, it's just another thing for him to check off his bucket list, and he, like Husby, he wants to be known as the best guy to race CORT ever. And you can't do that, be considered the best ever if you don't win in all the major divisions.
This is a battle for the second position as we got caution on the speedway. And it's John Dragonetti and Steven Taylor.
2 of the heavy hitters right there.
See if we get a replay here. They're battling with Andrew Hess. This is for about the 8th position.
I don't know what happened there.
I think it appears as if Taylor was starting to get tight, slide off the throttle, and then and then John Dragonetti had nowhere to go, but into the rear of the 42. And I tell you what, for an oval event for the Trading Paint Series, this is uncharacteristically atrocious. We are down to 8 cars out on the speedway.
Yeah, normally we only see them drop off like flies, on the road course events, but they're proving otherwise tonight. Could be still shaking off the rust from the off season, or just not into it yet. Haven't gotten the rhythm back.
Could very well be. Plus, a lot of these drivers were partaking in some preliminary events for the National Cup Series and Super Truck Series. So we appear to have a little bit of a situation. Appears as if they're waiting for the pace car, or the pace car hasn't come out yet. There's the Ford Mustang pace car now coming into view. Field had to wait for the pace vehicle of CORT to make their way up here. Looks as if we'll be down to 7 drivers left in tonight's event, actually. So a very promising night for a lot of these drivers who could still leave Homestead with a good finish.
That's actually a good point there. Do you happen to know what happened to Andrew Hayes? We were just talking about him, and now he's sitting 10th place, 4 laps down.
Not sure what happened to Andrew Hayes. Appears to have had an issue. We'll have to see if we can get a update on the 12 or of the 20.
I'm getting word he just found the wall off of turn 4 a few laps ago, bounced off it, then hit the inside wall, and pulled it off onto the apron there and into the garage area, and he called it a day.
Tough break for Hayes, as again, this field has definitely shrunk down quite a bit. Not even at the first pit stops of the event, and it is getting to be smaller and smaller, kind of concerning. We might not have any cars left by the end of this one.
Not at the rate they're dropping right now. If they keep dropping like this, there won't be a single car left.
Yeah.
Uh,
Silliman off first, followed by Hess.
yep, 2 out of the 7 guys hit pit road. Solomon is long due, and honestly, I think at this point he has to because, at this point it puts you off sequence of the other guys to the good, though. So, you know, if he can go longer than anybody else on fuel now, there's another caution, which there probably shouldn't be. But if it can pan out that way for him, he's going to be sitting pretty.
So right now, with that pit stop by Sullivan, which quite frankly needed to get done because he was on the end of his fuel load there, that puts Julian Medora in the lead. As we show you your top 5, Julian Medora, Scott Olson, defending champ, Kyle Young, Scott Mullen, and Tim Silliman. That's pretty much a full field graphic at this point. So something to watch for here tonight as we are 1 to green. So we will go back racing here at the Homestead Racing Series, or Homestead Miami Speedway. Homestead Racing Series. Where was I going with that?
And remember, folks, as always, David Danboys is brought to you by CORT Wheel, the official wheel of CORT.
That's not true. It's not true. It's not true. I thought we talked about not doing this. I thought we talked about not doing this.
But Target approved.
No, it's Cartwheel and it's by Target. They're A's, not O's. We've been over this, Kevin.
But I've talked with Chris about this.
Of course.
Target sponsors them, sponsors that entry, and very big part of Chris Sweat and all of his racing endeavors. And he said that CORT Wheel was presenting you, and it was being presented by Target.
All right, restart here for the CORT Trading Paints Championship Series Grand Prix of Miami. Not even halfway through. Small field, as you can see. Kind of surprising to see such a small field so early, but we'll see what we can do when we get the restart here with roughly about 85 laps to go.
We're not even halfway in this yet, Dave. There's a long way to go. If these guys don't figure out how to race again, it's going to be a pretty short race, I think.
There we go, Julian Medora with the great restart as we're back underway.
Yeah, he stretches out to a pretty good lead to start off with, and everybody else is just getting back up to speed. We'll have to see where Tim Sullivan and others fall into place here. I'm going to guess that they're probably just going to be content riding for a little while.
Could be the case. As see the field coming to view, looks like the first battle is going to be for that third position. Scott Mullen and Kyle Young, along with Tim Silliman, trying to work his way back through the field. Look at Silliman go through here.
He's got those fresh tires. He could be an animal here for a little while.
Silliman working on Kyle Young in the Hot Wheels entry. That's for the third position. And he isn't quite clear yet. Trying to use all of those Firestones right away.
Well, you got to use them up sometime.
Here goes Silliman on the inside of Kyle Young. They're going to drive down this long back straightaway. Same length as the front straightaway, but they're both equally as long as now they go through 3 and 4. There he goes. Tim Silliman moves to the third spot, but here comes Kyle Young again. Young trying to mount a charge. They got Andrew Hess behind him, and that's Scott Mullen behind him as well. The GE entry and the Pepsi entry. Here goes Mr. Silliman. Mr. Silliman will clear. Move Tim Silliman to the third position. Now here as another battle for the lead will begin in between the 10 and the 1.
Like I said, this is not going to stop now. It's not going to stop to the end of this race. Julian is hungry for that win, and Scott is wanting to defend that title.
Julian Medora, as we covered earlier on, has not won in CORT Trading Paints Championship Series competition. Behind him, the defending champion, Scott Olson. A very exciting battle here, nearing the halfway point of tonight's event.
And Scott's just sitting there. He's biding his time, just trying to be anywhere and everywhere that Julian Medor's mirrors are at.
Trying to just fill up the rear mirrors of that Mercedes AMG engined entry. As, oh, we got trouble in the back. Doesn't appear to be anyone around. Doesn't even appear to be contact. Didn't quite catch a number on that, but that was pretty nerve-wracking there, as now we got a battle for the lead. Here comes Scott Olson, the Wisconsin native, trying to make a move here. He will go ahead and do it. There goes Scott Olson to the point. Number one is number one here at Homestead.
And who can say they're surprised? Scott Olson, he's got that talent. He knows how to drive these things. These cars especially. He's always there, always waiting, and he will be very tough throughout this entire season.
Defending champion Scott Olson trying to go ahead and steal the season opener. Has run well tonight, not been in the lead yet. They come up on the lap car of John Dragonetti in your foreground there just a minute ago. And now Julian Medora has not got something to say about it. He's right back on the rear wing of the one.
Yeah, they're pushing a lot harder than I suspected they would at this point. I mean, especially since, they've got over half the race to go and they've had this many cautions already. I would have thought they would have been content riding, but no, not these two.
Oh, they have to move out of the way of Dragonetti. It's going to make it 3 wide down the back, as now Medor is going to have a run, and he will take it. Julian Medor uses the lap car of Dragonetti as a pick, and he moves to the point back again.
Yeah, that really worked out well for Julian. I don't think Scott's too happy about it, though, as he makes the move going into one.
Olson, we were about to queue up a replay for that, but hey, right back to it. Olson trying to run back in on the inside. These two equal as they go down the backstretch into turn 3. Nearly make contact there. They almost make contact again.
I don't know if that's Scott's driving, aggressiveness tonight, or if that's just a coincidental deal where he's trying to catch the car, or what's going on there. But he's had some close encounters this evening.
This is getting to be one of the most aggressive battles you will see. These two fighting tooth and nail, as only you could see on the CORT Training Page Championship Series. It's clean, too. That's exciting. Here comes Olson and Medor through 3 and 4 down the front straightaway. They will complete lap 51 of 125 on the evening. As we're nearing the halfway point, we're about 10 laps from halfway.
I'm just curious as to how long they can actually keep this up, because, it's great and all. It's fun to watch. But they got Tim Silliman creeping up.
Yeah, and speaking of which, that was an exciting battle that you saw in the background just a moment ago. Tim Silliman and Andrew Hess are starting to go at it. You'll see it when they come down the backstretch once again. We'll cut back to that battle when this one kind of clears up. In fact, this one's starting to build a bit. Looks like Olson has built out a little bit of a lead. We'll try and follow along with this battle periodically throughout the remaining of the night. Meanwhile, Andrew Hess and Tim Silliman for the third spot. Those two are going at it. Hess, again, just a moment ago, I told you guys, broke his ankle last season. Couldn't contend, but before he broke it, this was one of his better events.
I expect good things from him this season. He did have some good runs last year, but as you said, his ankle took him out of the running, and just didn't get to see as much of him as we would have liked to.
Tim Silliman with an aggressive move there, forcing Hess to think twice about jumping on the inside there.
Yeah, and Tim's starting to pull a little bit the way it looks, but then, the second you start thinking that, Hess is right back up on him. It's going to be back and forth for a little bit here, I'm thinking.
Cutting back to that lead battle real quick. It is still Scott Olson and Julian Medor. If we could do picture-in-picture, we'd have this picture-in-picture. It's an exciting battle at the front. These two still going at it. We'll try and follow this one as much as we can, as it appears as if Olson might have lost some time there, as now here comes Medor.
Yeah, Julian's just biding his time now. Looks like maybe he's trying to get some fuel efficiency off of Scott, or maybe he's just hanging out, waiting for Scott to make a mistake. Like the last time they passed the lap vehicle of John Dragonetti.
Your top 5 right there with intervals to the leader. As you can see, Medor been within a tenth of the one car of Olson for most of this run as they go through 3 and 4 once again. Again, nearing the halfway point of tonight's event, so should be interesting. Also, these guys have to make one more pit stop before the end of it tonight, too.
Yeah, they definitely can't make it on hopes and dreams. If you could do that, well, some of them would still be out there
I
without
would be a
having to make a
champion.
stop yet.
Here goes Olson and Dragonetti, or Olson and Medor, as they pass Dragonetti, who decided to take the apron this time around, got out of the way, preventing Medor from getting a pick and roll, so to speak, if we want to steal a term from basketball, on the one car of Olson.
Yes, other sports terms work well in auto racing.
It does in that case. He literally used him as a pick, and he rolled by Olson to the lead. Not going to happen here.
In that case, I hope that Scott Olson doesn't fumble the ball on this one. Or maybe the lead, I don't know. See, I can't translate.
Those two look to be pretty content running in a row. Let's cut back to that battle for third. Those two as well, a little bit more distance, but got to focus in on some stuff a little bit deeper in the field. Why don't we focus in on Scott Mullen, who's having a pretty good run in the fifth spot?
Yeah, you had a close call the couple of laps ago when you said that there was something going on down the back straight, but everyone, collect themselves. He had a close call there. Kyle Young came down the track a little bit. He had to react and almost hit the infield, but they all kept it together and kept on driving. Just putting together a quiet little solid run tonight.
Good run for him. Good run for that entire team right now, as it appears as if that battle for third is starting to close back up, as now here comes Andrew Hess trying to get by Tim Silliman again.
Yeah, Slim Tim Silliman just trying to hold on to it out there. Not really making any ground on leaders, but, he's just trying to stay within earshot, trying to keep, within distance of actually being able to make a move when the time comes.
Here comes Hess trying to make a move on Silliman. He's going to probably try and get a run down the back or down the front stretch here. Here we go. They're just past halfway, as now here comes Hess to the inside.
Yeah, he's trying to power it around Tim Silliman on the inside there, and just doesn't have it. Just doesn't quite have it. I think the only way you're going to make that move on Tim is if Tim's caught napping.
Tough break for Hess. He's going to have to regroup and replan that move now.
Yeah, with how long it took him to make the last move, I don't suspect he's going to be making one within the next couple laps here.
Moving back to the lead. As you can see, nothing has changed there. Scott Olson still has the lead on Julian Medor. Again, if anything changes, we'll try and keep you updated. As a fact, now here we might have a run here. Here comes Medor as Olson runs a little bit higher lane through 3 and 4. Medor is right all over the rear wing again.
Yeah, Julian, I think he's actually pretty content sitting in that second place there. They're pulling some time on Tim Silliman, who I think is the favorite to win here tonight if he can get back up there. But, they're 3.5 seconds up just about, and I think that's where they want to be. I don't think they want to be swapping the lead or doing any of that because it's completely unnecessary. It's all about that win, all about the W.
Well, Kevin, not only that, but they're past halfway. If I'm Julian Medor, I know I have to make another pit stop, so I'm not going to try and push it just yet. But man, when that jack drops in the pit lane and I am good to go to the end, I'm going to go for it.
Yeah, meanwhile, third place Tim Silliman's pulled quite a bit of a gap there on Andrew Hess. I don't know if something happened there or what, but they are taking their time.
Yeah, Silliman with a little bit of a gap there. Hey, real quick.
Medor comes to the pit road.
Julian
Medor is making his pit stop.
Julian Medor making his pit stop here. Julian Medor, the Atlantic Canadian, who could not go any further on fuel. Lap 68, and it's still going to be close. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it all the way.
If Julian drives the way I think Julian drives, he should be able to make it. That being said, if he takes the lead on this whole ordeal and winds up leading some laps, he could run out.
He's going to need a caution, I think, as Medor stops in his pit stall. Gets service from the AMG crew. Doesn't appear to be getting tires. Actually, he does get tires. May as well. Full tank is the same time as getting tires.
Yeah, you really don't go wrong by taking tires in this situation. Meanwhile, Scott Olson's come onto the pit road now after seeing Julian come down.
Ooh, interesting move here. Defending champion Scott Olson comes down the pit lane. See what that entails as he stops into his pit stall. Mador is out. Meanwhile, this gives the lead to Tim Silliman.
Like I said, Tim Silliman, he's got the longest fuel window here. If he can stay out there for a while, and if luckily enough he can grab a caution, he could be sitting absolutely beautifully for the rest of this race.
Yep. Remember, there is a free pass rule in effect, so if the caution does come out during all this, they could possibly get back on a lead lap. So now we got a little bit of a pit stretch as it appears as if Olsen might have gotten some grass when he was leaving the pit lane. At least that's what it looked like on my screen.
And during the exchange of pit stops, Julian has managed to get ahead of Scott.
Hearing, tough break, Julian Mador, too fast exiting. Gonna have to come back in. Tough break. That will pretty much end the hopes for Julian Mador here tonight. A tough break, too fast exiting, and it's gonna have to make this slow, painful 55-mile-an-hour crawl through pit lane. Doesn't appear to have to stop, just crawl through it, and he's gonna need some help now. It's a stop and go penalty.
Yeah, he's going to need a caution or 2 or 3, or hard to say, but I don't see it happening. I think his night's pretty much done.
Tough break for him. Meanwhile, the battle for the lead could start getting a little bit interesting now. Andrew Hess is still a little bit further back, but not too far back. He is now about 0.6 of a second behind. We'll follow there. Julian actually ran it out of fuel completely. Could not stretch it out. And that was a tough break for him.
Oh, well, if he was completely out of fuel, I'm surprised he got in and out as well as he did.
Hess still trying to reel in Tim Silliman. Silliman on the point right now.
Yeah, both drivers will need to make pit stops yet, but I think they've got a pretty good window, so it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out.
No real battle out there right now. Appears to be pretty sustained. And by the way, with the extra pit stop, Julian Mador, unfortunately, falls to 4 laps down.
Yeah, like I said, he's going to need a lot of luck to get back into this thing. And by a lot of luck, he needs pit stop to cycle through completely. I think he's still going to probably be 2 laps down, so he's probably going to need 2 more cautions just to get back on the lead lap.
And with 6 cars out there right now, doesn't seem likely.
Not one bit, no.
Hey, real quick, wanted to focus in on somebody who's still running out there. Jeff Gilmore in the number 57 is running 4th, all by himself, but is going to net a pretty dang good finish here tonight.
Yeah, I can't say his run has been impressive, but he's kept it clean, which is half the battle. In order to finish, you got to be out there.
That's what Mark Martin once said. If to finish first you must finish. And that's what he's taking to heart here, as he is just trying to net laps and get himself that locked-in position for the 500K at the end of the month.
Well, running 4th place, he's getting some exposure for himself and for his team. And, there's never a good thing, or never a bad thing that comes out of that.
Absolutely good for the sponsors. Tim Silliman leads here at Homestead, Miami. We're nearing the tail end of this event. 48 laps to go.
And reports are that Julian Mador has now retired from the race this evening.
That's a tough break for that team. It went from bad to worse for them, as it appears as if Mador is going to have to call it a night. Tough break for him and that entire AMG team. High hopes, very high hopes most of the night, and it just did not work out for him, unfortunately, there at the end. So as we said, not much going on right now. Just waiting to see when Tim Silliman and Andrew Hess will make their final pit stops here. Scott Olson looks to be in the catbird seat, however. He's running 5th. and is looking very is looking like he might be able to capitalize the most out of any of the drivers left in this field.
No, I liked your version better, the catbird feet.
Catbird feet?
Yeah, catbird feet. Yeah, he's definitely sitting in the catbird feet. Or he's grown catbird feet. What is a catbird anyway?
I don't know. I'm not sure what the saying is. But yeah, this series, it's got a lot of exciting events moving up here, and a lot of drivers have compared the differences in between these Trading Paints cars and the CORT National Cup Series cars. It's very different, You got the heavy, half the width of the tire, just like Days of Thunder said. You got twice as heavy and half as wide versus half as heavy and twice as wide.
You really had to be careful on that one, didn't you?
I did have to be careful.
Voice, you're really struggling with it. It's okay. Remember, folks, contribute to the cause. Cartwheel brings you David Danboys every week. Go support Cartwheel.
It's called Cartwheel again. But Tim Silliman's got your lead. Andrew Hess, Scott Mullen, Jeff Gilmore, Scott Olson. And in a very atrocious race, John Dragonetti still aims to gain out of all these positions. He finds himself 8th, 23 or 22 laps down, but has a moderately repaired car and can gain some more positions. He can gain 2 spots here and move himself up to 6th.
Yeah, and he's in it for the long haul here, so he's not going to just pull over and give up. He wants every point he can get, and if that means staying out there and just drudging along and just trying to stay the heck out of people's way, well, he's got to do what he's got to do.
All right, we will take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with hopefully pit stops for Tim Silliman and the rest of the crew here. We'll be right back with more action from Court Vision here in Miami. And we're back with CORT Training Paints Championship Series action here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. David Amboys alongside Kevin Bartelt. And again, a very atrocious race has led to a 4-car lead lap with Scott Olson sitting 5th in the catbird seat. Not catbird's feet, as we said before the break, but catbird's seat, looking to try and take advantage of this.
Maybe we were referring to a griffin. Aren't griffins a lot like cats and they have the wings and stuff?
No, they do not. They do not.
Oh, what the heck am I thinking of?
You are thinking of some weird things, that's for sure, as we head through the final few laps of this one. 36 laps to go in tonight's CORT Training Paint season opener. Meanwhile, Andrew Hess has ate a bit into the lead of Tim Silliman. Not much, but he has. As you will see here in just a minute, he has eaten it up to almost half a second. It was 7/10 of a second at one point, so things definitely getting a little bit better for Hess. The fuel's getting a little bit lighter, so.
Yeah, he's holding about the same there. He only lost about a hundredth on that lap, so he's just hanging out, and Tim Silliman is coming to pit road.
Tim Silliman, the leader. And this is the one pit stop that a lot of people were eyeballing. He's going to be coming in with 35 laps to go. Not too much pressure here, but pressure nonetheless, as here comes Silliman. Bringing it down, 55 miles an hour is the pit speed limit here at Homestead Miami Speedway, 1.5 miles.
And as long as Tim's paying attention or, had someone figure out some mileage for him. He shouldn't have to take as much. And surprisingly enough, Scott Olson is back in.
Scott Olson back in. A surprising move by the defending champion. Has to come back in, and you got to wonder if he had a penalty on that original stop.
I don't think he had a penalty on that stop, but I do believe he didn't have enough fuel to make it to the end. And now that Tim has come in, he has decided to come in as well.
Oh, what a development. Scott Olson, the defending champion, forced to come back in.
I think Tim has played this out perfectly. I think Tim is going to be the guy to beat in this race.
Andrew Hess now in.
I believe now Scott Olson will be trapped 2 laps down.
Andrew Hess and Scott Mullen. Everyone has made their pit stops. We believe that this man right here, Tim Silliman, will cycle into the lead after the pit stops here with 32 laps to go.
Yeah, I don't believe there's any excuse as to why he wouldn't, unless he gets a penalty or something along those lines. I don't see him losing the lead or losing any ground at all.
It quickly, all of a sudden, fired up, and we are quickly now going through this. Here comes Silliman down the front straightaway. I believe this will get him unlapped. That does get him unlapped. No, actually, he's looking to pass for the lead now.
Right, yeah, because Hess is just coming on the back straightaway. Tim's coming up behind him. It's going to be interesting to see who played this out right. If Hess took too much fuel, or if Tim took too much fuel, or too little on that hand, it could, completely swing this race. I'm actually surprised that Hess is still up there.
Did Andrew Hess make a race-winning move? We will find out 31 laps from now. But right now, Andrew Hess is sitting in the first position and is ahead of Tim Silliman by a second and 3/4. 1.7 seconds is the distance between the leader, Andrew Hess, who is yet to win in the CORT National Cup Series, CORT Training Paint Series, or CORT RPM Truck Series. He hasn't won a CORT yet, period. And is looking to hold off the man who has won in all 3 CORT divisions and actually won the truck prelim event last week of Tim Silliman.
Was that a points event, the truck win?
That was a points victory.
Tim Silliman, the only guy to win in all 3 series thus far.
That's right. Well, Scott Olson has as well. Scott won the inaugural truck event at New Smyrna 2 weeks ago. In fact, the truck series is in action at USA tomorrow night. So if you guys are interested in coming out, no plans for that being broadcasted, but you guys can come on out. Anyways, 28 laps to go. Andrew Hess might have just made the move of the event.
Yeah, it looks like he's starting to pull a little bit on Tim, and to say the least, that's surprising me, because Tim has been, in my opinion, the class of the field all day.
You see there on your screen, Silliman and Hess. Silliman trying to reel back in the number 22 of Hess, who might have just worked out the best pit strategy so far all day.
Well, and the thing is, if he took a little bit less fuel, that's allowing him to be quicker, or just allowing him to be quicker on the pit stop, it might come back to bite him if he took too little. But at the same time, if he took just the right amount, Tim might be in a little bit of trouble here.
Meanwhile, Scott Olson falls to 3 laps down. Tough break for the defending champ. Looked to have contended for the win earlier on and was the leader for a long period of this event, but just did not work out, did not cycle through the way that he was expecting, did not get enough fuel, and that put him behind the 8 ball. He's still going to finish well. He's going to finish in the 5th spot, but a tough break for him, for Scott Olson. As we near lap 100, as soon as we complete this lap, we'll have 100 laps in the books, 25 to go.
It's the biggest 25 laps of Andrew Hess's career here at CORT so far.
In fact, Olson has come in again, so wonder if there's some handling issues with the number 1 paint helper Ford Cosworth powered entry. As Hess comes to the line, there will be 24 laps to go here in the training paint season opener.
Yeah, it's really hard to say with Scott. I know he's a competitor. I know I've seen him personally. cob things together to make them work, to get them to the finish, but doesn't look like it's going to work out this time.
It was the fastest laps of the top 5 so far tonight. Scott Olson, 25.566, fastest lap on that list right there. Nearing the end of tonight's CORT Training Paints event. Top 5 running right now, trying to get to the finish of this one here tonight at Homestead. And again, as we said just a minute ago, Andrew Hess is your leader. Has chanced it on fuel a bit. We'll see if he can make it.
That's going to be the ultimate question right there, because as long as he maintains what he's been maintaining and putting down solid laps like he has been, Tim does not catch him. But if Tim starts making ground, or if he winds up short on fuel, he's in trouble.
Yes, still trying to hang on to this top spot here. By the way, I want to thank everyone for tuning in to CORT Vision here tonight. Big show for you tonight, as now we are down to only 4 cars remaining in tonight's event. It has really been a battle of attrition, which is something that we don't usually see here at Homestead.
Yeah, for it to be a 1.5 mile oval and have it come down to who can survive, I'm surprised.
Not worried, but surprised. You know that these guys will get right back on it at Twin Ring Motegi, another 1.5 mile oval next week.
Oh, no, you can't be worried. These guys will be back and hopefully be better than ever. And if they're not, well, then I'll be worried.
Then you'll start to worry there, Kevin?
Possibly. I don't know.
At that point,
I got to go buy myself some catbird feet.
Okay, it's catbird seat again. And you can't get it at Cartwheel through Target. Okay. All right.
Get it through Cartwheel at Target.
No. Nearing the end of this one, again, Andrew Hess has the lead. Is just trying to size things up. No real battle out on the speedway, so why don't we go ahead and focus in through the field a bit. Andrew Hess has your lead, and he has chanced it on fuel. Tim Silliman might have taken a little bit too much. He finds himself 1.3 seconds back. He might actually start eating into that lead a bit, as you can kind of see Andrew Hess in camera shot in a couple of these shots here. So it's getting exciting now. Maybe Silliman can eat into this, but he's going to need some help. He's far behind. He's a second and 1.3 seconds with 17 laps remaining.
Yeah, he's making good time now, though. He's actually got it down to 1.184. If he's eating his way into that lead, I'm thinking he's pretending Hess is a donut right about now.
Let's go ahead and take a look right now. Andrew Hess, your leader. We'll leave the camera on him, but we will compare the times that Tim Silliman is running. In fact, he just ate another 10th out of it. Could this be a chance for Tim Silliman to come back and eat this lead in? Did Andrew Hess not get enough fuel?
I don't know, but he sure looks like a delicious donut to Tim Silliman right now as he continues to eat on that lead.
Okay, but yeah, if you look here, we got Andrew Hess, and now Tim Silliman is starting to eat back into this lead. He has now made it almost a second, and they're definitely back into camera view down the back straightaway.
Yeah, Tim's just consistent. He's being very smooth, and with about 15 laps to go, he is slowly eating into this, slowly taking it down 1/10 of a second at a time.
Hearing Andrew Hess is short by 0.2 grams or gallons. 0.2 gallons.
That's disappointing to say the least.
He's going to need to save as much as he can with a hungry Tim Silliman, who is looking to lead the point standings as they leave Homestead. But now all focus goes on that 22's calculators as they are trying frantically to make sure he can make it on fuel. But right now, things don't look good for the driver of the 22 GE entry.
No, and the thing is, if he slows down to save some, he's going to wind up short anyway, because Tim's not going to sit there and follow him. He's going to pass him.
It's bound to get exciting here as now it's a huge chunk eaten out. It's now only 0.6 of a second in front of Tim Silliman as Andrew Hess.
Yeah, it looks like he's really got his hands full just trying to save whatever he can to make it to the finish because second place is definitely a lot. Well, no, we got a caution though.
Caution! Scott Olson around in turn 3, and the night gets bad to worse for the number 1 paint helper Ford. Let's see if we can go ahead and get a replay on that. Let's see here, he's going down the back straightaway. This is the lap before. Let's see here, we'll go ahead and focus in on the entire replay. We got the time. Let's see here, and it's a rather erratic line Mr. Olson is driving there at the moment. It appears as if he saves it there, and then I'm not sure what happened there. That's a very interesting line by the 1 car, and then he loses it there on the inside of the speedway, and that triggers the caution.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. That's very uncharacteristic for Scott Olson. I've got, I always thought he had better car control than that, but I could be wrong. Maybe there's something mechanically broken. I have no idea.
That's very interesting by Scott Olson to do that. That's we'll have to see if he had car control issues. Don't believe he ever hit the wall at any point tonight. But that's a very interesting move there. We'll have to see. Jeff Gilmore will be your free pass. And now Tim Silliman might need to worry about Scott Mullen, who has not won in the CORT Training Paint Championship Series. The only car still running out there on the speedway right now that has not won, or that has won in CORT competition, is that number 8 of Tim Silliman at the moment.
Yeah, and Tim's going to have his hands full because Scott's right there, and our leader from just a few laps ago, who was short on fuel, he made his pit stop. Now he's back up there, 3rd place. He's going to have something to say about this.
Very interesting. Real quick, want to quickly head to our promos here. Real quick, want to get one last buzz here. Remember, ASRA Live View makes its debut here on Court Vision on Thursday. We'll be live from the Texas Motor Speedway, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, only on Court Vision. Then again, the next week, it's the National Cup Series' turn here on the Court Vision. National Cup from Bristol Motor Speedway, March 12th, 8:45 p.m. Eastern.
Should be some good races there.
Should be some very good races. So now with fuel out of the question, not an issue here. Toss up. Who you got? The veteran, Tim Silliman, the man who's been in this position before? Or do you have Andrew Hess, who has contended for a win here last season? Or is it dark horse here, the man that we to be honest, didn't really focus much on, Scott Mullen?
Or, for a 4th option, is it going to be Jeff Gilmore, the guy who's been quiet all day?
Should be very interesting here. Should be the 2 to green lap, so we should go back green here. Gilmore came back in just to top it off on fuel. So what we have here is, as there goes Gilmore on the... Oh, he's just falling back in there. I thought he was getting the wave. Guess he already got it.
That's right.
Looking here, Tim Silliman, Scott Olson, Andrew Hess, and Jeff Gilmore. If you would have told me before things kicked off here tonight that we would have a 4-car battle for the win, and it being the only 4 cars out there on the speedway, I would have told you, hey, we're better than that. But hey, that's what we got right now, and quite frankly, it's going to be a good one. Tim Silliman, Scott Mullen, Andrew Hess, and Jeff Gilmore. 2 Canadians, a man from Illinois, and a transplant from Pennsylvania, now in Florida.
Yeah, but we don't judge him by that.
No, we do not. No, we do not. Pace car is going to come in. We're going to have about 7 laps to go. Silliman is going to need a good restart here. as we come to the green flag with 7 laps remaining here tonight at the Homestead Miami Speedway CORT Grand Prix of Miami. These teams getting ready to head west to go east. As I said earlier on in the broadcast, they'll be heading to Homestead or to Twin Ring Motegi next week for the Poca Grand Prix Japan Special.
If I had to put my money on this, which I can't legally due to terrible things, I would have it on Tim Silman. He's a veteran here. He's had a fast car all night, and he's in the lead. He's going to be tough to pass.
Got my money on Silman too, but I would like to see a surprise. Let's see what we got. Ford Mustang pace car turns hard left for the final time, hopefully. Here we go to the line. We'll see what we can do. And green flag is in the air. We're racing as now a slow restart for Scott Mullen.
Yeah, Tim's got a little bit of a lead now, and quite frankly, I don't see him giving it up. But here comes Hess on the outside.
Ooh, Mullen forcing Hess back up the racetrack. They're still battling hard for the second position behind Tim Silliman. Hess clears him.
And here comes Jeff Gilmore trying to make a move. Sorry, there's too many Scotts. But two Scotts doesn't make a right.
No, it does not. No, it does not. As now, here comes Andrew Hess. Here we go. Hess was quicker for a while there, but he chanced the fuel. Can he beat Tim Silliman straight up? He must have gotten the minimum amount of fuel. They must be on similar fuel loads at this point, but Hess has fresh tires. We'll see what that does for the 22 team. Excalibur Racing, yet to win in CORT. Could tonight be their first win?
Well, you know, he's got the fresh stuff, he's got the distance, and he's got the draft.
0.3 of a second back, trying to gain as much as he can. All 4 cars in a single file line at the moment. In fact, he's reeling them in. Very slowly, but he's reeling them in. But he needs quicker. He needs to reel them in quicker.
Well, right now he's just trying to catch him, you know, and that's the battle here. He needs to be smooth, he needs to be consistent, and to be quite frank, you know, he's going to need Tim to screw up just a little bit. Not much, but just enough to open up that window for him.
3 laps to go. Now he has to worry about the car behind him of Scott Mullen. Andrew Hess trying desperately to hang on to the second spot, trying to reel in Tim Silliman. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to do that. Now he faces an attack from behind.
It doesn't look like Mullen's getting too far with it, though. Looks like Mullen might be just trying to set him up, as we see him trying to duck low on the corner, but it doesn't look like he's getting anywhere with it. And they're still gaining time on Tim, but it's not enough. They've got 2 laps to erase 0.2 of a second, and I don't see it happening.
I don't see it happening either. Very nice try for Andrew Hess. Just ran out of laps, it appears as if, here at the end of this one. So now, here we go. We're going to focus in on Tim Silliman here in just a minute, but this battle for the lead, or this battle for second place, will continue on through the final lap. What a run for Tim Silliman. The man took advantage of fuel mileage, was class of the field for most of the evening, dealt with the fuel strategy perfectly, and it's going to come back, and he's going to come home with a victory, but here comes the battle for second.
Yeah, Hess is trying to hold off Mullen here. Mullen's trying hard, and they're just going to cross Hess and then Mullen second and third. Tim Silliman, your winner.
Tim Silliman brings home the CORT Grand Prix of Miami. A very good win for Tim Silliman. Wins the season opener for the first time in his career, and effectively locks himself into the Indy 250 500, or Indy 500K, I should say. Been calling it the Indy 250 for years. It's tough to get used to it having a different name. But Tim Silliman, your winner here at Homestead, as he gets ready to do donuts for all the fans here at the Homestead Miami Speedway.
And it's Tim's home away from home track that is now his home track that didn't used to be his home track, if that makes any sense at all. You know, so this is a big win for him.
Silliman actually decided to just do the victory lap and then come right back in, dirt track style. Tim Silliman, your winner here at Homestead. We'll be right back. We will try and get some interviews for you. You're watching CORT Vision. And we are back with Court Vision's coverage of the Court Grand Prix of Miami, a battle of attrition, but nonetheless a very exciting finish that ended up happening. One of the drivers that was involved with that finish was third place Scott Mullen. Scott, congratulations on the third place.
Thanks, David.
Scott, you ran a pretty clean race nonetheless in the Pepsi machine, but you still came home with the top three. Describe your race.
Well, it was just trying to be cautious. I want to finish races this year, and if I finish all the races, the top fives look after themselves.
Yeah, you certainly got that right, and you're one of the few guys to actually be running at the end of this run, surprisingly. Do you got anybody to thank for your good run tonight, or anyone you'd like to say hi to?
Well, of course, the folks at Pepsi that helped put this ride together for me.
Well, that's great for you there, Scott. And unfortunately, we had a little bit of a technical difficulty there halfway through here, and have had to jump onto the other computer. But yeah, congratulations, Scott, on your third place finish. Let's throw it over to Kevin, who's caught up with Andrew Hess.
Hey, Andrew Hess, congratulations on your second place run. How was it out there?
Oh, thanks. It was a lot of fun, actually. I mean, minus the
Hi.
attrition there at the end. I think it was a fun race. It was tough to pass. Me and Tim seemed pretty equal there. It seemed like whoever was going to be up front. If I wouldn't have screwed up my fuel in that last pit stop, I think I probably would have held him off.
Will there be any changes in your crew with the fuel mix-up?
I will have to let the owner handle that. I'm not going to go Kevin Harvick and fire them all in the pits there.
And most importantly, do you think you could have passed Tim Silman if you could have caught him?
Yeah, I mean, if all things aside, I think I could have passed him. I was one of the few guys that I thought could pass on the low there. I've always run well at Homestead. I think I came in second last time we raced here too, so it's kind of frustrating to go second. But I enjoy racing here, and it was just tough to catch him. He was the same way when he was behind me. He couldn't gain anything, and I think the only time he gained is when I threw it in sixth because I realized I didn't have enough gas.
Yeah, you were looking real good out there. Anybody you'd like to thank or say hi to out in the broadcast?
I'd like to thank CORT for putting on another stellar race, and you guys for doing the broadcasting, and my team who failed to show up to watch me today.
Well, there's more races where this came from. They'll be here for some of them, I'm sure.
I hope so. Thanks, guys.
Yep, have a good one.
All right, and now I have caught up, and I'm back on the right computer now. We have caught back up with our race winner here in Victory Lane here at the Homestead Miami Speedway, Tim Silliman. Tim, congratulations.
Thank you. I wasn't exactly sure if I was going to be able to catch back up to him at the very end, but from what he said, it sounded like he was going to run out of fuel anyway, so maybe.
Tim, a very exciting race, and for first time you win the season opener. Talk us through your event.
Well, starting up front, I figured, with the first few cautions at the beginning, I figured I'd just stay out, and I just stayed out, and I stayed out. I figured, if I can get to the same fuel point as everybody else, then it wouldn't have mattered. So I figured just lead as many laps as I can to stay up front, and it paid off apparently. So.
And Tim, you come home with the victory, and it essentially pretty much locks you into this season's Indy 500K. What does that feel like to make yourself sure that you're going to be able to race at the end of the month in the Indy 500K?
It takes a lot of pressure off, really. That you never know if I could actually have been there to qualify myself in or not, or something can happen. So it makes my life easier knowing now that I won, that I don't have to worry about that later.
All right, Tim, who you got to thank for this?
My team owner, which is oddly enough you. So I'm thanking you.
Yeah, why you got to make it awkward?
Oh, this is
why you got to make it awkward?
I guess Alan, my sponsor, for always being there past many, many, many seasons and sticking with me. So, thanks, you guys.
All right, that's Tim Silman, your winner of tonight's Court Grand Prix of Miami. Kevin, it's been a good one, and thank you very much for sticking through tonight. As let's get your final thoughts on the evening.
Destructive. That's what this evening was. Destructive. Only 4 cars finished this race. Lots of broken cars. I hope this trend doesn't continue. But, we still had a good race for the finish there. I can't complain, I guess.
That was a good one here tonight. I want to thank you for coming on up and helping us out. Next race for the Train Paint Series next week on next Monday, and Twin Ring Motegi on the oval over there in Japan. That will be next week, 8 o'clock practice, 9 p.m. green flag. Next time we come forward you here at Court Vision. I can't talk today. It's kind of important. It's my job tonight.
Catbird feet.
Yeah, exactly. ASRA Live View from Texas, Thursday at 8:45 p.m. Follow along with the drivers of David Amboy's Developments as they go through the second event of the ASRA event, or ASRA series. We get ready for that, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, Thursday, only on Court Vision. And again, next week, next court event for you, the National Cup Series from the Bristol Motor Speedway, March 12th, 8:45 p.m. Eastern. That's a Wednesday, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, here on Court Vision. Again, thank you, Kevin Bartell. Appreciate you coming in as always. We'll catch you guys later. So long, everybody, from Miami. We'll be back on Thursday for ASRA at Texas. So long, everybody.